Okay, I just did Genesis. This is Joan, and I realized I didn't take you back to the Bible, and I didn't take you back to the chart where I take you back to the Bible. So I want to correct those two things. And maybe it has to do with Gemini energy, that it is two little people, two twins, or one set of twins. So I'm having to do it twice. But in any case, you'll find the story of Dinah Cheecham, who was the son of Hamar the Hivite, and the Hivites were an off branch of the Canaanites. Uh, Everybody thinks that the Canaanites were black. I tend to think the opposite. I tend to think everybody else was black, not everybody, but most everybody, and that the Canaanites were white. And I did a video on that, and I'll probably update it. But in any case, Dinah was raped by Shechem, and her two older brothers were Reuben and Simeon. So, what happened with them is that after she was raped, they tricked the men of the land into becoming circumcised. Now, when the men were really sore from being circumcised, the two of them went into the city and killed all of them. And they also took all their stuff. Now, looking at that from the ideal astrologically, you could say Taurus. It was a joint effort. Taurus came and, let's see, took all their stuff. In verse 28, they took their sheep and their oxen and their asses, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field, and all their wealth, and all their little ones. Okay, Taurus is concerned with material things. They like pleasant things. They like to have things. And as I said before, they tend to, if it doesn't seem with much effort, they tend to wind up having a lot of things. And that is not necessarily what Gemini is after. Gemini is tricky. They probably were the ones who came up with the ideal, hey, if you want my sister, you got to be circumcised. Now, that doesn't mean that Levi is not good with the sword, because if you think about, like, I personally believe they became not the priest. If you think about the priest, he had to be involved with cutting up things like a butcher. So I don't think that it was that he wasn't able to do the physical work. I think that his nature, though, is to make things easier for himself by using some form of trickery. Now, that is not to say anything good or bad one way or the other. I'm trying to say it as it is, and not judgmentally. I'm trying to be objective about everything, because I believe that there's a reason why there are 12 tribes. There are 12 different personality types that the Heavenly Father has put into this earth. And I think that that is a reason why we have to not be so judgmental or so harsh on people when they do something in a way that we wouldn't do it, because they're not you. And the Heavenly Father did not shut the door on these people. Now, He did allow people to be cursed, but He did at some points take away curses. And I think at the end, He's going to take away all the curses, which is thank God. You know, but up until then, I think that it is important that we look at each other with I don't know, a certain amount of admiration, because everybody has something that you don't, and respect and consideration, because as I said before, just because somebody is doing something in a way that you wouldn't do it doesn't mean it's wrong. It means that they have been given a certain sort of framework of behaviors or thoughts or attitudes, and they may not always agree with you. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But in any case, this is what happened with the two of them. Now, I'm not really sure if all the other brothers joined in, but in any case, these two were head of everything. Now, when I go back to the chart I did, based on the scriptures, on what the mother said when they were born and what the father said when he was dying. This is what Leah, their mother, said. And she conceived again and bare a son, and said, Now this time will my husband be joined unto me, because I have borne him 3 sons. Therefore was his name called Levi. So at this point, she is thinking, well, hey, I've got 3 sons. This man can't help but be, he's going to link himself to me now. I will have won this competition. I'm, I have, I have won over my sister. They say my sister's prettier than I am, cause something a little strange about my eyes going on, but it doesn't matter because now I've got 3 sons, and this man is gonna link himself to me like twins, like we're one. Well, not one, we're 2 separate people, but we're so close together, we're twins. That's what she was hoping for with Levi. Now, Jacob didn't quite see it that way. In a way, he gave him the same blessing that he had given Simeon, and he lumped them both together basically and said, Simeon and Levi are brethren, instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. O my soul, come not thou unto their secret, unto their assembly. Mine honor be not thou united. For in their anger they slew a man, and in their self will they digged down a wall. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. Well, Levi became scattered in the sense that as a high priest, he didn't have a land. Everyone else was given a certain land allotment, but he wasn't. As the high priest, everybody had to support him. That's where the tithing ideal came from, where since they didn't have any land, everybody had to give 1/10 of what they had to Levi because Levi was the priest. Now, as I said before, I think that Gemini is totally underestimated, but that is part of their charm, part of the way that they are tricky. Because if a person is a if a person is a Gemini rising, they are not going to look big and sturdy like Taurus. They also are not gonna look like they're ready for a fight like Reuben or Aries. They're actually going to look more than likely kind of delicate. They're going to look fragile, peaceful. Now, this is the rising sign. Sun signs can vary. Your appearance really is more controlled or influenced by your ascendant. Consider Michael Jackson. He could do all these different athletic dance moves, but when you really looked at him, even before he did all the plastic surgery and changed his color, he still he seemed to have sort of a delicateness about him. Now that is Gemini rising. So Gemini rising, again, the thing about the rising sign is it influences the whole chart. Whereas your sun sign, yeah, it influences everything, but it has a specific point where it works. That is, if you have a sun sign Gemini in the 7th house, it is telling you about what you aspire to be. It's telling you about your father, what your father was actually doing and where he was doing it at. And it tells you about your husband. But if you have a Levi ascendant, or sorry, a Gemini ascendant, it's influencing every single sign there. They're all being influenced because you're looking at the world through that, and the world is looking at you through that. So, even back to Michael Jackson, he was a Virgo, which is again ruled by Mercury. He was a Virgo, but I did read that he was a Gemini rising, and he was able to trick Tommy Mottola and a whole lot of other people because they did not recognize how smart he was. Well, he's got 2 smart signs going for him, and that's Gemini, which is the air, but he's also got the earth sign Virgo going for him. But I'm looking at it from the Gemini perspective that Geminis can be underestimated, and that is exactly what happened to the men in the Bible. They did not look at Levi and think, well, this person might be a little dangerous. And it seems to me that since Levi, that is if I'm correct, and I always hold, I'm not telling you this is what I think. I could be wrong. But if they were talking to Levi and Simeon, it was probably Levi doing the talking. And Geminis are extremely persuasive. When they decide to go into law, which I don't think they do too often, but if they do, they can be persuasive about whatever point they're making, and they can do it in a comical way. They uh, they can lighten the mood of things. Now they may be thinking, "I'm gonna get you, sucker," but it may not show. And unlike Aries rising, who might look like they're spoiling for a fight, they probably won't. They look delicate. At least the Gemini rising signs I have known, and most people lately they don't put I think the last 20 years or so, they don't put the time on your birth certificates, and I think that's a really terrible thing because you can't really tell, you can't know what the ascendant is without that birth time, and I kind of think that might be why they're doing it because they don't want you to know. But in any case, like I said, the thing about Gemini is you got a smart person who's smart enough to not let you know how smart they are. And I think that I can understand why they would be your high priest for that quality, that they might go under the radar. You may not notice them. People may not notice that this person is capable of doing some stuff. And also, they would be great priests, well, because they're great communicators, and also because they are unpredictable. So it is better to have this person close by where you can kind of monitor them. And if you can influence them, that is a great thing. It's better to have them close by than to have them far away when you have no idea what they're thinking about and what they might do next. Now, this is a conjecture. Oh, and as I said before, the other person who to me really exemplified Gemini is Elijah. Now, this is First Kings 18:25 through 39. And basically, what it's telling you, and I'm not going to read the whole thing because of time, but I will go through it slowly. So if you want to, you can see it here. And I think what it illustrates is also verbal skills. Geminis can tear people up verbally. They can, even without raising a weapon of any sort. And it has been very disconcerting to me because I had two Gemini daughters to not be able to win an argument because that doesn't make sense. I'm the mom. But this is another trait that Gemini has in their repertoire. They are very, very persuasive verbally. And like I said, for you will find in your life if you know the sun signs of the people that of the people you're around a lot, you're gonna attract certain sun signs, and you won't really know why. I looked around at all my friends for at one point, and everybody was a Gemini or a Pisces. Now, that to me made no sense. I wasn't trying. At the time when I met people, I wasn't looking at signs. But everything is done with a reason and it's not haphazard. It's done the way it's going to be done. Well, as modern day examples, I think that you could look at Marilyn Monroe. That is, if she really was a man, because if she really was a man, she sure has a whole lot of men lusting after her. And also Donald Trump. You have a Leo, you have a Leo rising with a Gemini sun. Yeah, and that makes for a person who is fearless, vain, and a whole lot of other stuff. So I hope this was enjoyable.